morning. I'm Barb Hefner. I'm a member of your parish committee. Step forward. Better? Okay. We're glad that you're here, whether you are here with us in this peaceful sanctuary or are at home online. A warm welcome to visitors. We hope that you'll join us downstairs after the service for coffee, tea, and cookies. Our mission is to build community, to search for meaning, to deepen our spirituality, and to make a better world. To learn more about First Parish or our faith, you can reach out to Kate Holland here in the red sweater. She is our Director of Lifespan Education and Engagement. Or if you have questions or concern, you can always talk to Reverend Stephanie or a member of your parish committee. A big thanks to all of the folks who are participating in our service. Their names are in the order of service. Please note that Middlesex County is now at a low risk for COVID, hallelujah. So you can mask or not as you prefer. I also just wanted to mention that yesterday was it has been 3 years as of yesterday since the World Health Organization declared a pandemic. So that made me think back to the days when the church was closed, the staff figured out the technology to bring us together online and keep us connected. The choir amazingly figured out how to meld their voices somehow miraculously from their homes and deliver music to us still. People made masks. The untalented seamstress amongst us, like me, donated fabrics for masks. And people, delivered groceries to each other. So anyway, I thought it was worth marking that moment. So in the spirit of connection, I would ask that you say hello to your neighbors and wave to the camera to greet the folks at home. Wherever they are. Okay. Let the service begin.
Thank you, Bells. And I hear rumor you'll be back on Easter. Is that all right? Welcome. Welcome. You are welcome here. You and you and you. I am grateful for you all. Are you grateful that you are here today? Take a moment to just look around. Smile, nod, and see each other. Are you grateful that your neighbor, whether a stranger or a friend, is here? Okay, Puritans. Are you grateful that you're here and other people are here? Yes. Excellent. Today we enter a season of stewardship, a time when we remember that we are here because of those who have come before us, and that we are stewards to ensure this place, this community, remains for those yet to come. Let us enter this hour, this season, with gratitude for being here together. And now a special message from our stewardship chair, Larry Green.
Good morning. Is this working? Yeah. Yep. Okay. As Stephanie mentioned, I'm your stewardship chair, and I'm here to announce the beginning of the long-awaited and much-anticipated stewardship. It's a spirit I like. So, as you may have heard, we have three themes this year. One of them is the theme of celebration. We have a lot to celebrate. We survived the pandemic. In fact, we are still going strong and have a vibrant, connected, and tight-knit community. The second theme is to grow the vision. As you know, we've completed our visioning exercise, and now it's time to grow that vision. And the third theme is together. To be successful in growing the vision and moving us forward, we must do this together. And that means that we need everybody to contribute financially and otherwise, whether you are a new or an old member. Our operating budget is funded almost entirely by your contributions, and we do not have a large endowment or other large source of income. So we must all pull together to contribute. We are asking most of you who have pledged in the past to increase your pledges by around 15% this year. This is because of inflation, I'm sure, of what all of you are aware of. And we need this to fund some of the visioning events that we have proposed and to fund well-deserved increases in staff salaries. And because we don't have the COVID loans that we had the last couple of years that bailed us out when we ran a deficit. And lastly, several of our lead contributors are no longer with us, and we need to sort of make up for that. So to quote a sage here, we'd like you to pledge not until it hurts, but until it feels really good. So, so that's what we're looking for this year. Some of you will be canvassed personally, and some others will have their canvas packets mailed to them. But no one will be visited by a canvasser in person unless they ask to be. You should receive a call or an email or a letter this week, this coming week, and if you have not already done so, because I know some of the canvassers have already reached out to their people. But if you don't, please contact me and I'll make sure you do. Once again, there is an upside to this. We have a raffle each week. So the sooner you return your pledge card, the more chances you will have to win a finally, I'd like to announce that there's another point I'd like to announce is that in keeping with the celebration theme, there will be a dinner here at First Parish next Saturday night, March 18th at 5:30 p.m. All ages are welcome, including children. There will be food, intergenerational activities, and music, and this will all be provided. If you want, you can bring dessert or something, but other than that, you don't need to bring anything. We just want you to come and have a good time. For more information to sign up, please go to uuwayland.org. That should be familiar to you all, /celebrate. It's very, very easy to remember, uuwayland.org/celebrate. And for those who'd like to sign up today, Nancy, where are you? Over there. Nancy has a clipboard and a sign-up sheet, and so she will take your names today if you'd like to sign up today. So let the service begin.
He's right. That's what we typically say at the end of the last announcement, but he is a special announcement. So what we're going to do now is invite the Levine family to come forward to light our chalice. I like to put the chalice in covenant after the announcement because it's another reminder of these connections to each other and how we support each other. So thank you, Levine family, and Leah for leading us.
With open minds and loving hearts, we gather to search for meaning, to care for one another, and to work together for a better world.
Thanks, Ellie. And let us now sing, which is the hymn name. Let us sing. Now let us sing number 368. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Good morning. This mic seems very quiet today. Make it taller. There we go. Is that better? Okay. So I am Kate Holland, the Director of Lifespan Education and Engagement here at First Parish, and my pronouns are she, her, and I have a story to share with you today. So my story is about a little girl named Mia. And Mia and her mom were on their way home from a party that she had gone to for somebody's birthday. So she's in the back seat, and she's all excited because she has a goodie bag. Does anybody remember those goodie bags from parties? They're so exciting. And so she started to open up her goodie bag, and she looked inside, and there was a bracelet. And she was like, it was green, and she looked at her mom, and she was like, oh. And her mom says, what? And she said, I wanted a pink bracelet, not a green bracelet. Green is yucky. And her mom said, well, you got to go to a party. Did you have fun? And she said, yep, I did. And so they kind of went on from there. Well, Mia was going to a friend's house for a play date. And when she was there, they had a great time. And again, on the way home, she looked at her mom and she said, you know, my friend Jenny, she has her own bedroom. And I have to sleep with my little sister Leah in the room. That doesn't seem fair. Why can't we do that? And she said, well, you know, we don't have the money to have that big house to have everybody have their own room. But you get to sleep with your sister, and the two of you like it because you're not alone at night, and that makes you feel better. So Mom had listened to these kind of complaints about things, and so she had an idea. So one day at dinner, she brings out a jar. And she says to her, after dinner, I want you to get your best stuff, your glitter and your markers, and I want you to decorate this jar. And what we're going to do with this jar is that every day we're going to stop before dinner, we're going to think of something we're grateful for, something in our life that really makes us happy. And so she did all of the glitter and got some pretty ribbon, and she wrote gratitude on the jar, and she was very happy. And at the end of the day, she said, well, what are we grateful for today? Mia kind of looked, and she's like, I don't know. And her mom said, think of something or someone that makes you happy. Think of someone you love. And so she thought for a minute, and she said, you know, I'm really grateful for my little sister. Sometimes she takes my toys, but I really like to play with her. And so she wrote it out, and she put it in the jar. And her mom says, you know, your little sister can do this too. She can draw a picture of something that she's grateful for. So at the end of the year at Thanksgiving, they had a jar that was filled and even overfilled with pieces of paper that talked about things they were grateful for. And before dinner, they took out a lot of them, and they read and remembered all the things through the year that had happened that had made them grateful. So it's a lovely practice. And so you may notice, I also have a jar. And so I was thinking about all the things that we're grateful for here at First Parish. Sometimes finding gratitude, even at First Parish and for First Parish, can be hard because we don't always agree. It's a shocking thing as Unitarian Universalists that we don't always agree, but surprisingly, it's true. But even when we don't agree, I love that we find ways to come back together, that we come back and think of the things that we are grateful for about this community. And like Larry said, we are here after the pandemic, and we are strong and vibrant, and that is such a gift. And the fact that all of you stayed through the pandemic with us and were part of this community speaks so loudly. So my jar will be downstairs, and I'm going to strategically place it next to the cookies, because it's somewhere I know everyone will go. And so there will be cards and pens. And if you can take time during coffee hour, just take a minute and think of something that you're grateful for here at First Parish, something that really makes you happy, something that you really love about being here in this community. And then I will have a Sunday where we will take out all of the little things and read some of them to see what we're grateful for. So thank you for your help. And I am going to invite all of us to sing, and I'm going to invite my friends for Seek to come downstairs with me so we can have our class. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Phil Giudice, and today our reading comes from the book, The Way of Gratitude, A New Spirituality for Today by UU Minister Galen Gingrich. Okay. He's the minister and author in New York City. Gratitude has its basis in our awareness of all the things that have come our way, from the people and the world around us. We begin with this inescapable reality. We are contingent creatures. We depend on our environment for everything we need. We depend on the largesse of the natural world for our very existence. And we depend on the people around us for the quality of our ongoing lives. Without the natural world, we wouldn't have air to breathe, water to drink, or food to eat. Without biological parents to conceive us, none of us would have been born. Without nurturing hands to care for us during our infancy, none of us would have survived. Without people around to teach us how to use language and how to accomplish the basic tasks of daily life, daily human life, none of us would be able to fend for ourselves. And without the institutions of human civilization, such as schools and hospitals, not to mention governments, none of us would be able to realize our potential as human beings. Gratitude is a way of life that, when consistently practiced, leads to an abiding sense of joy. Joy at being alive, joy at being a part of this amazing ecosystem we call planet Earth, joy at being able to begin each morning with the gift of a new day, joy at being able to love and work and sometimes struggle and occasionally fail and then begin again.
Thanks, Phil. Some of you may remember that Galen Gingrich preached my installation back in October of 2014. He's a good friend. Our hymn is another just sort of celebration of the fullness of life. Number 128, For All That Is Our Life. Let us rise in body or spirit to sing 128.
My name is Alyssa Lee. I'm the ministerial intern here, and my pronouns are she or they. Please join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation. Let's take a deep breath in and out. And then another deep breath in and out. Spirit of love and connection, many of us are probably a little tired today. Our clocks may have changed, but our bodies, our sense of time has not. Time always moves at its own relative pace. Sometimes it goes too fast, and we wonder what happened to today or this week or even the whole month of February. At other times, the clock seems to slow. Days appear longer. Perhaps a longed-for day is approaching and never seems to come. Or changes we hoped would be here by now have yet to arise. But let us be grateful for the gift of time. May we remember to take a moment, as we are right now, to pause and reflect on the movement of time, the movement of our days, and the seasons of our lives. May we hopefully be met with memories of the delight that can come from longer days and sunnier evenings. Though we might be focused a little on the tired today, may we also think with fondness and gratitude the time we have here together, what this community means for many of us, and the joy being here together week after week, time after time can bring. Amen. Now let us pause for a moment of stillness, a moment to breathe, and just be still and rest in the community we have made together.
I'm Roger Horine, a lay minister of this congregation. My pronouns are he, his. This is a time in our service we set aside to share our joys and sorrows. In both our sharing and in the support given by our witness, we affirm our covenant to care for one another. To begin, I will light a candle of sorrow for the people of East Palestine, Ohio, and the surrounding areas who are still dealing with the aftermath of an environmental disaster. I will also light a candle of joy to celebrate this congregation's Our Whole Lives program as the 4th grade class wraps up their curriculum for this church year. We are grateful that the children and the youth of our faith are provided an opportunity to make informed and responsible decisions about their relationships, sexual health, and behavior. If you wish to share a personal joy or sorrow, please add your joy or sorrow to the chat now, or to share in person, please come to the front. As a reminder, you may also submit your joy and sorrow in writing using slips at the door. As a note, joys and sorrows will not be part of the service recording on YouTube.
Thank you, Roger. For today's offering, we're sharing the plate with the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, otherwise known as the UUSC to many of us. It's an organization that works with grassroots partners and other advocates to advance human rights together. Their current initiative priorities are for crisis response to either man-made or natural disasters. They're also focusing on advancing and protecting the rights of populations at risk of climate-forced displacement. And a third priority is the Central American Migrant Justice, in which the focus is on grant making and partner support on grassroots organizations working for systematic change. They believe in connecting groups across the migrant trail from El Salvador to Mexico to the United States. So please give generously to this group. You can donate online. You go to uuwayland.org/donate. If you are donating to UUSC by check, please make your checks out to First Parish in Wayland and put UUSC in the memo line. You can, there's other ways to donate in your order of service, such as the Vanco mobile app and texting. And then also you can donate in one of the boxes that is going to be passed around. So the offering will now gratefully be received. Thank you.
Speaking of memories and looking back, I think it was about a year ago when the choir came back live. So it's so lovely. And I think that was one of the songs you sang, one of your first back, so thank you. As we sit here in the 5th meeting house of First Parish in Wayland, I invite you to imagine this southeast corner of Boston Post Road and Cochituate Road in March of 1814. According to records, the land then was a sloping pasture overlooking the village. I wonder if the pasture was still snow-covered, or if the spring melt had begun to reveal patches of grassy meadow. At the same time, the congregation was still meeting in the fourth meeting house, which was across the intersection behind where Dr. Cooper's office is still present today. Over the prior 7 years, however, there had been debate about where to locate a new structure. As some of you know, Millbrook runs beneath the intersection of Boston Post Road and Cochituate Road. We remember the flood when it completely filled the intersection. And before modern paving and drainage, this brook divided the town. Residents on either side understandably preferred that they would not have to cross the brook to attend church. At a town meeting in April, let me say that again, at a town meeting in April 1813, the residents south of the brook offered to buy an acre of pasture from Mr. Wynne. The north residents accepted this, and the site for a new building was determined. And yes, this was a town decision in 1813 because the separation of church and state hadn't quite become a thing yet in Massachusetts until 1833. More than a year later, on June 1st, 1814, construction began as the men of the town raised the frame with teams of oxen. And by fall, the new meeting house was finished. At the same time that the congregation was working through issues of the politics of where to build and how to pay for a new building, we know that the Boston area was also becoming engaged in a theological controversy between liberals and conservatives. 15 years after the decision to build a new church, that same church would split over theology, as 6 women and 3 men left to form a congregation more aligned with their beliefs. In recounting this bit of history, I want to convey the sense that we reside within a stream of people working together to sustain this congregation. This does not mean there has always been agreement, as was the case of the building location or theology. But ultimately, we are here because of a commitment of a group of people 200 years ago to build where we now sit. As the 1814 congregants anticipated the spring thaw and the upcoming building project, I wonder if they reflected back to their Puritan ancestors who had built the first meeting house. By that time, the congregation had been gathered together for nearly 175 years. And did they consider those many years past, or the generations that might come after them to sit within the walls of the frame they raised that June day? Did they think of us? How often do we remember those whose actions created what we inherited, or consider those who may yet gather within these walls? Connecting the experience of receiving from others with a sense of gratitude, Unitarian Universalist minister Galen Gingrich writes, "Gratitude has its basis in our awareness of all the things that have come our way from the people and the world around us. We begin with this inescapable reality. We are contingent creatures." Gingrich emphasizes the way this contingency is true with the natural world, our need for air, water, food. And he underscores how this is also true of institutions of human civilization, without which none of us would be able to realize our potential as human beings. I appreciate that Gingrich includes institutions in his description of the gifts that shape our lives. From schools to governments to religious organizations, institutions provide structures that impact how we come to understand ourselves, as well as the ways we interact with one another. Importantly, not all institutions have the same kinds of impact. One of the reasons we engage in social change is to change the shape and practices of institutions and their impacts on people's lives. And one of the reasons we give of our time, our money, and our heart to some institutions rather than others is because we believe that they are the ones doing good in the world, that they enable meaningful living. We are grateful they exist. So also, the institution of First Parish as we experience it today did not have to be. Perhaps if the residents north of Millbrook had been better organized or had a more generous farmer offering an acre of land for sale cheap, our meeting house might not be here. Or perhaps if the money given by long-forgotten congregants had not been set aside into the East Sudbury Ministerial Fund, the meeting house may not have been so well cared for through 2 centuries of New England winters in paint-peeling sun. Or maybe when the pews emptied out from the controversy surrounding the First Parish member and Wayland teacher Ann Hale during the Red Scare of the 1950s, the congregation may not have survived into the 1960s without the commitment to the congregation from the remaining members, including Mary Tregesser, who still remains a member to this day. First Parish, like any institution, does not just happen to exist. Institutions are contingent upon the continued actions and engagement of successive generations. Whether in our institutional or in our personal lives, it can be good to pause and to remember just how much we receive from people and the world around us. It can be good to pause and to name all that did not have to be, but which we are so grateful that we do in fact have as part of our lives and our experiences. The people whom we love, the places that ground us, the experiences that have comforted us or expanded our sense of who we are. What is on your gratitude list? The giggle of a grandchild or the wiggle of a puppy? A sunbeam streaming in a window, the pleasure of a cat stretched out in its fleeting warmth, the smile of recognition and hearing a beloved tune, the sudden flower or fruit that appears on the vine, the sigh at the end of a day well lived, the satisfaction of achieving that long-sought end, and always, always, the memory and experience of the love you have felt, given and received with those dearest to you. Gratitude is the awareness of all that we have received from people and the world around us. Certainly, there are hard days when gratitude feels more distant and when the struggle feels more present than the gifts. It can be easy to stop noticing and naming the wonder of all that is good, of the gifts that remain. But to remember is itself a gift. When we pause to cultivate awareness of all we receive, we not only feel a sense of gratitude, we also reconnect with that larger current of life which pulses from generation to generation. Aware of our place within this ever-moving current of life, we are reminded of the connection between gratitude and contingency. We recognize how even as we have received so much, we are also entrusted to pass on a world and institutions that may perhaps not only sustain survival, but also enable meaningful living. Pausing to be aware of all that we receive not only fosters a sense of gratitude, it can also inspire how we choose to impact the living of the next generation. We live out these themes of gratitude and fostering life each year at First Parish. On Flowers Sunday, we end each program year by placing our flowers of gratitude on our tree. And we begin each fall on Water Sunday by naming what we will bring to help water the roots of the tree and that foster a living, growing community. Again and again, we move through currents of life, pulsing through this institution in each of our experience of being part of this community. Do you remember the first time you came here? Each of us, at some point, first entered this building or logged on and began to receive the gifts of this community. None of us started this institution. All of us receive it as a gift. So also none of us singly sustains the congregation. Not me as a minister who would hate to preach to an empty room. I've tried it. I didn't like it. And not any one volunteer, leader, attendee, or donor sustains the congregation. As a community and as an institution, we exist and thrive only together. This togetherness is, I suspect, even what many of us find most valuable about being here. Yes, the meeting house is historic and beautiful, but as someone who spent a lot of time in an empty building in 2020, I assure you that a large part of the beauty emerges from its function as a place to be together. Even online, we have been intentional to preserve a Zoom meeting format so that when you log on, you are digitally present with others. And if you're watching this recording on YouTube, please know that you too are on our minds today. Together, we inherit the gifts of this congregation, and together, we will shape what comes next. Every generation faces questions and controversies about the path forward. In 1814, they were struggling with the issues of a new meeting house, a north-south divide in town, and a brewing theological storm. In April of 1954, First Parish member Ann Hale faced a school committee for her affiliation with the Communist Party. A First Parish member, Roger Stokey, was the town council for the school committee. At the same time, the minister, Ray Manker, was a big supporter of Ann Hale. Today, we are recovering from a global pandemic and wrestling with the responses to racism, as well as attacks on women's reproductive rights, transgender persons, and our democracy itself, all within a context of declining religious affiliation, especially within younger generations. And so we must ask ourselves, what congregation and institution do we want to leave for those yet to arrive? When you consider your gifts of time, of money, of heart to First Parish, my hope is that we consider all of this, not just what particular gifts we individually receive, but also to what degree it matters to us that First Parish will be here as a vibrant religious community for the next person or the next family that enters through our doors or clicks to join online. This place, this institution is contingent, just like so much of life. We can make a difference in helping it to survive and thrive. Together, we are the congregation and the institution. May our gratitude for what we have received be the fuel for our gifts to help First Parish continue to grow into that vision of who we want to be and what we can offer to others, seeking meaning, caring community, and a better world. So may it be. Amen. And this is one of my very favorite hymns, hymn number 331, Life is the Greatest Gift. Please rise in body or in spirit. Generations before us and to those yet to come. Let us go and be beyond these walls, bringing more light and life, love and justice to our shared world. Amen.